If you're responsible for employee training, you've probably felt it before. You launch the program, your employees start with it, and suddenly the engagement drops, or even worse, they finish it, but nothing changes in their performance. And that is why in this video we want to talk about how to build a clear upskilling system and provide a guide on how to manage it effectively. Let me start with what I've seen in most cases. A lot of companies treat upskilling not just as a skill development as it should be, but more of like content delivery. And this is the first problem that actually you would encounter. In general, I would also highlight 3 critical issues whenever you build the upskilling program. The first one, obviously, there is no clear outcome. You might create some upskilling program, but then you realize you actually do not have a final goal for that, and this is actually a very critical moment. Additionally, I would say that there is too much passive learning. What I mean is you might have some presentations, some PDF files, maybe some videos, but learners do not actually practice. And obviously, in most cases, whenever they see that some materials are not, like fun, or at the same time, they are just not as structured as they should be, well, it's not going to be very successful. And the last point is there is no connection to real work. Because whenever we do, for example, some soft skills practice and we want to upskill some negotiation, in this way we need to understand how actually I can use it in my work and in which sort of situations I can really use it. So that is why in this video we will break down how to avoid these problems, how to fix them, and also how to improve your upskilling situation. There is a simple framework I use whenever I build upskilling programs, which is defining the results, map skilling, designing the learning journey, adding some practice and feedback, and obviously measuring and improving. I want to break these down into some clear steps in this video, and I hope that it will improve your upskilling program significantly. First of all, you need to start with clarity whenever you're defining outcomes. Since what should employees be able to do right after this program? It's not just about they need to learn how to do this, but actually they should be able to do that after the program. And definitely, you need to be specific and observable. You have to know that there is a simple way to check this. If you can access it, it's not a real outcome. And that is why we are going to the second step. Once you have the outcome, break it down into skills. That is why you would use the map skills for that. Let's say your goal is run an effective discovery call. You need to understand what sort of skills are built towards that. It might include some active listening, some structuring the conversation, how to deal with the conversation, identifying the main point, because it's not just about the talk, but actually understanding what are the issues, and obviously asking open-ended questions, which would actually make the second person speak actually and providing clear answers. Now you have something you can actually train. This steps turns a vague goal into a clear skill map. Now we structure the program. Instead of dumping all the content at once, create a progression. You can obviously start with some theory by explaining what sort of information they are going to proceed with right after. Try to make it as a practical guidance. You provide the information, learners need to understand what to do with that. And obviously, you really want to finish it with some practical, real world applications. Each step should be built and relied on the previous one. And also, make it simple. Short modules, some focused topics, clear flow. Think of it as coaching, not lecturing, because you really want your employees to make it as a successful upskilling, not just a boring lecturing type of a thing. This is where most program fails. Whenever there is a situation that skills are not built by watching, this is where most programs fail, since skills are not here like built for watching or this is where most programs fails. Skills are not built by watching. They are built by doing. And basically, every key skill should include some practice activity and feedback loop. For example, employees might do some AI role plays or some AI assessments. And in this way, they right away would have the feedback, which is automated. And additionally, they would understand what is their skill gap, where they need to improve, what was good, and so on and so forth. So that is why this moment, I would say, is something that you actually need to take care of. Because whenever there are people who train, learn, and practice, they would actually show their results. Whenever there are people who just watch, listen, do nothing, I mean, you already know the answer. And finally, you need visibility. Look at completion rates, skill progression, some practice performance, and any kind of issues, mistakes that could be analyzed by their behavior, feedback, and so on. This tells you what is working and what's not. Upskilling is not a one time project, but this is something that is ongoing. Think of a system that you need to refine over the time. That is why it's incredibly important to complete the previous steps and also not forgetting about the last. So, if we put it all together, a simple and effective upskilling program might include foundations and key concepts for your learners to actually see and explore all important details that they need. Second, skill specific training. Whenever you are going through some skill training, you should understand what sort of a skill is that and how actually it could be implemented into their work. Practice scenarios. Whenever there is a chance to do some practice, definitely go with some AI role plays, maybe some AI assessments, which would actually help your employees to get it off. And obviously, real world application and practice and feedback. Basically, whenever you have like the idea that the upskilling should help my employees to improve their performance, to make it better for their professional career and development, and additionally, having to improve the way how your company manages upskilling, it is important to provide feedback and obviously showing how it could be used in real world. Now, if you're thinking where to implement that, I definitely suggest trying Educate Me. Because, first of all, it's very, very simple since most of AI tools there would give you a very quick, short, and simple steps on how to either create a course for upscaling or, for instance, to help you to provide personalized feedback for your learners. Let's test it out. I really like the way how it works, and additionally, I've tested a few lessons already, and additionally I did a quiz which was quite simple and instructions are quite clear, which is also this is what you want for your upskilling programs, to have a clear instructions what learners need to do. And additionally now I'm gonna do some AI assessment and AI role play just to practice and receive some feedback. I like the way that you can structure your entire learning journey in one place, from content to practice to assessment. For example, you can use AI assessment to verify whether learners truly understand the material by engaging them in an interactive conversation with AI. And obviously, that they can always review the feedback and how they did during that. Yeah, obviously you can create courses with clear modules and progression, add like some quizzes to reinforce learning, and obviously using AI role plays is a good thing to simulate real conversations and generally helping your learners to apply the necessary skills towards the practice. Also, tracking performance across all activities is quite easy there, and instead of managing everything across multiple tools, definitely it is a good call to use Educate Me for running your entire upskilling program in one system. Yeah, and definitely check it out. Effective upskilling is not about having a bunch of different content, but it's actually about having clear outcomes, structured learning designs, and obviously practice. If you follow the framework we talked about today, your learners will have a very nice upskilling programs and you will be able to build something meaningful. If you found this useful, we would really appreciate if you subscribe, give it video a like, and obviously if you found this helpful, feel free to subscribe, give this video a like, and if you want to see how these sort of programs could be built in practice, definitely check out Educate Me for building your own.